Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. Lance Price's account of the rise of Narendra Modi has attracted widespread attention in the media. After hours of unprecedented access to the Prime Minister, it reveals details of the Prime Minister's thinking, behaviour and politics that were unknown previously. In part 2, Lance Price is my guest to talk about his book and what it reveals of his subject, Narendra Modi. But first, has Rahul Gandhi's absence from politics damaged his chances of becoming Congress president? A recent front-page article in the Economic Times has said that Rahul Gandhi might not become Congress president in April and that even the AICC session scheduled for next month may not happen. So in part 1, we ask how much damage has been done by Rahul's mysterious disappearance. And joining me now to discuss the question marks hanging over Rahul Gandhi's future is the political editor of the Economic Times, Rajesh Ramachandran, the political editor of The Hindu, Varghese George, and the opinion page editor of The Indian Express, Vandita Mishra. Unfortunately, the Congress party was unable to find any spokesperson who was willing to take part in this discussion tonight. Rajesh Ramachandran, your paper, The Economic Times, on Monday carried a front-page story that Rahul Gandhi may not become Congress president in April, and in fact the AICC session, which was scheduled for next month, may well end up being postponed. Is this a sign that Congress is having second thoughts about elevating Rahul Gandhi?
Well, Congress never in the first place said that it is thinking seriously of elevating, so to say, Rahul Gandhi to the position of Congress president. And my colleague Rohini Singh was sort of expressing or bringing out the thinking within the Congress leadership. It was a fine story which said that there isn't really that kind of a process that is going on within the Congress party right now. It may happen, may not happen in the future, but as we all know, 24 hours is a very long time in politics. And right now, as we talk, I don't think that there is any serious thought given to this process of elevating Rahul Gandhi to Congress president.
So A, was it just the media who'd come to that conclusion and come wrongly? And B, was it just a couple of front faces in Congress, like the Mani Shankar Iyers and the Digvijay Singhs, who were promoting Rahul and hoping, but not the party itself?
First of all, Rohini is a first-rate reporter, and I don't think
not
that...
questioning her,
No, I'm saying that I'm just praising my colleague, saying that I'm sure that she would have got it right, first of all. And then, nobody in Congress party ever expressed such a thought. And these are things, particularly a swap between mother and son. I would feel that it would be an extremely personal decision, an extremely personal process that would go on between the mother and son. And so most others probably wouldn't even be party to it.
Varghese George, I suppose the critical question that underlies that Economic Times article is this. Has Rahul's mysterious disappearance from politics right at the beginning of the critical budget session, A, damaged his standing in the eyes of his partymen, and B, has it raised questions about whether he's cut out to be president at this critical point of time?
You know, that question has been raised, but not so much within the party, I would say, because among the general public and the media, Rahul Gandhi's willingness or suitability to become the Congress president has come back as a discussion point. It has always been a discussion point, actually, at various points in time. And because of his absence at a crucial time, that question has come back. But that does not really answer the original question that you put, whether Rahul Gandhi will become at all. I think on that question, things are quite clear to my mind. The Economic Times article also only speculated about the possibility of the AICC session not taking place in April. As and when the AICC session is going to take place sometime this year, it could be a couple of months later, it is quite clear, according to the Congress sources and people who are close to Rahul Gandhi, that he will indeed take over as Congress president. The ET story also was limited in its scope to the extent that earlier the AICC session was scheduled for April end. Now that is not happening because of certain logistical and technical reasons. As and when the AICC session is going to take place, I think Rahul Gandhi is going to take over as Congress president.
Vandita Mishra, interpret for me how you read the fact that absolutely no Congress spokesperson was available to participate in our discussion tonight. Is that because they don't want to give credibility to the nature of this story by participating in it? Or is it because actually they wouldn't know what to say? They couldn't say he's definitely going to be president, nor could they say he's not going to be president, and so this is an invidious discussion where they don't quite know what to say. How would you interpret it?
I think it would be the latter. I think nobody really knows what to say on this. And I think, informed conjecture tells us that there is a certain tension within the Congress party at the moment between what is called the old guard and what is called the new leadership, which clusters around Rahul Gandhi. But the point is, whatever the nature of this tension and whatever the final resolution, the question to ask is not whether Rahul Gandhi becomes president and when he becomes president, but how does it make a difference to the Congress, whether he becomes president or not? That, I think, to me is the more important question. Does the Congress change? So far, what we've known about what Rahul Gandhi is passionate about or excited about is a sort of an organizational makeover, which is largely to do with internal decision-making processes, internal democracy, but gives us no clue whatsoever to how it will impact what the Congress stands for and how it connects to the major issues of the day.
And therefore, the answer to that question, how will Rahul becoming president change the Congress, is one that neither Rahul nor Congress has. And that in itself is a damaging situation for them. Would I be right in jumping to that further conclusion?
Absolutely, because, we had the land debate, the land acquisition bill, which was Rahul's pet project at one time. He went to Bhatta Parsol. The land bill is the Congress's showpiece legislation. Rahul was missing. So I'm just saying, what does it mean for Rahul to be president of this party at this political juncture is the answer that we should be looking for. When he becomes president, why it is taking long and what is actually happening right now is a secondary question.
Congress, as I said, did not want to send any spokesman, or they weren't available to participate. But speaking off the record, and I'm not breaching any code when I say this, they made it clear that they thought the story that we've talked about is in fact nothing but press speculation. They said Congress never said Rahul would be president in April. The press concluded it. Now, if it doesn't happen, the press will say it's been postponed, but it wasn't a decision taken in the first place. Similarly, they claim Congress never announced the AICC would be meeting at the end of April. Therefore, if the meeting doesn't happen, it's not a question of it being postponed. Once again, it's the media claiming it was happening, now discovering it's not happening and deciding it's postponed. In other words, is this a case, not just of your paper, but all of us, making certain assumptions, and then when we discover that they aren't going to happen, coming to the conclusion things have been postponed or things have fallen by the wayside?
I would presume so. Primarily, Sonia Gandhi has a very distinct role as Congress president, and she is performing it, and performing it rather well. She is the leader of the opposition, though she has not taken that position, and Kharge is the floor leader. She is definitely the leader of the opposition. She is galvanizing the entire opposition, and she is leading marches. She is definitely performing a role, the role of the leader of the opposition, and she is also the senior most leader by any yardstick one can think of. And Rahul Gandhi has his own role cut out for him, and he is performing it. He has taken leave of absence, which is fine for any person to take leave from any activity one is indulging in. But beyond that, where is this great necessity, where is this great need for a swap? That mother should step back and the son should become the president of the party. There is no need, really. There is no, health-wise...
except for the fact, not just the media, but many in Congress were actually actively, publicly saying the swap should happen. Kamal Nath said it, Digvijay Singh said it, Mani Shankar Iyer has said it. So there were voices saying it.
But these are not probably these are not people who really know what is happening between the mother and the son, because if they had known, they would rather keep quiet.
Verghese George, let me put it like this. Two things seem to be happening simultaneously. One, the emergence of Sonia as a strong, assertive leader in the last 3 weeks. She not only led the march to Manmohan Singh's house, the march to Rashtrapati Bhavan, but she's playing a much stronger role in the Lok Sabha. And side by side, there's the mysterious disappearance of her son. And now this speculation about when will he be, is he cut out to be, should he be, what will he becoming president mean? The two together seem to suggest a sense of reversal in the Congress party in terms of what was being so widely talked about in the last 9 months, that Rahul was going to succeed. Now there are question marks instead. And that itself surely is damaging for Rahul.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It certainly is, because this was a time when the vacuum that his absence created could not have been left there to be as an open field for the BJP to play its politics. So Mrs. Gandhi, for all his reticence to be seen as edging Rahul out of public space, had to take that leadership role, and that also brings the question is brought before us. The kind of role that Sonia Gandhi performed over the last couple of weeks, is Rahul Gandhi equipped to do that? Because in a kind of fractious politics that we are in now, Congress is expected to be the core of an anti-BJP politics in an emerging situation. Whereas Sonia Gandhi has done that job over the last more than 1 decade with a certain distinction, Rahul Gandhi's relationship with all other opposition parties are not exactly the warmest or very cordial. So what Sonia Gandhi did over the last 10 days actually brings that question again on Rahul Gandhi's leadership abilities, whether he will be in a position to do that in a situation when it is demanded of him.
Absolutely. And so in a very real sense, Sonia's reassertion of her authority and her leadership raises question marks about whether Rahul can actually fit into her shoes. Because as you said, she is doing things and galvanizing the opposition in a way that no one believes Rahul could had he been there in the first place.
Yes, yes, that is precisely the point. Because see, what Rahul Gandhi is trying to do in the Congress organization, as Vandita was referring to, is in a way reformatting the Congress in a particular mold. You know, what is that reformatting that he is expected, he is planning or trying to do in the Congress? In a way, he is trying to make Congress into a big managerial project where people are accountable, people can enter at certain positions, people are rewarded if they meet certain targets, etc., etc., etc. So in many ways, while he is using the word openness in restructuring the party, what he's trying to make is, what he's ending up doing is making the party structure much more rigid and managerial in nature. So that is fundamentally damaging the very strength of the Congress party, which is being very fluid. Some people would say it is very amorous, and it would even be accused of not having a very firm stand. But that fluidity of the Congress party is being what made that into a platform where different social groups could come and join, different other opposition parties could consider Congress as a leader of theirs in the fight against BJP. So if Rahul Gandhi were to make that system very rigid, I think he will be negating the very core basic strength of the Congress party.
Vandita, in Nehru's time, the question that was being asked from the late 1950s and definitely very loudly in the early 1960s was, after Nehru who? Are we now getting to a situation where people are saying, after Sonia who? Because Rahul, for whatever set of reasons, is not matching up to what people think is needed for that job?
I think there is a fundamental skepticism and questioning about Rahul Gandhi's preparedness to take on the role, especially at a time, when you are 44 seats in Lok Sabha, you have to maximize the leverage that you have. You have to strategize, as Varghese was saying, with other parties of the opposition. But we find that the Congress is taking its cues. The other parties of the opposition are actually much more vigorous. For instance, in the last Parliament session, it was a Trinamool Congress, for instance, which was most articulate in taking on the government, even in the Rajya Sabha. So Rahul Gandhi has so far not shown us how his big ideas about the Congress's organizational reform connect to either its identity, political identity as a party, or to the issues that are current today with the Modi government there. You know, there is, like I said earlier, the land acquisition bill. There is generally the issue of a certain communalization of debate and discourse. How does the big Congress idea that Rahul Gandhi has of restructuring it from within, how does that connect to any of these issues is something that nobody can see the dots. You know, nobody can see the connection. And that is a big failure for any leader.
All of that, in a very real sense, underlines the question marks that increasingly now hang over Rahul Gandhi's head. My last question, Vandita, are we, maybe not immediately, but are we heading towards a point where Congress might have to consider its future after Sonia Gandhi without another Gandhi at the head?
Frankly, Karan, I don't see that happening. I mean, I think the Gandhis provide a glue to the Congress, and until it can find another glue, whether it is in terms of an ideological repositioning, whether it is in terms of another leadership, you know, that comes up from below, none of it is visible. So given the state of the Congress today, it's an amorphous party, a large party, a coalition of interests. The Gandhis continue to be the glue. Unfortunately for the Congress, they are no longer the vote getters, but they are still the one family that holds the Congress together. I don't see any alternative glue right now.
Picking up very quickly, and you're going to have to answer me in literally about 10 seconds. If the glue is not as effective as the Gandhi glue used to be, and it becomes less effective when Rahul gets the top job, is Congress then facing the prospect not so much of swimming with Rahul, but sinking with Rahul?
The ones who would first get to know whether the glue is working or not would be the Congress leaders, and they would be the first ones to abandon the family if it is not working, because they have done it earlier. So then you
accept the presumption of the question I put to Vandita, that is Congress facing the prospect of having to live without a Gandhi after Sonia?
They still think that the family works, the glue works. They still think, and that is the reason why the family hasn't seen what had happened to them after the emergency elections in 78. So the 78 has not repeated in 2014, or is not repeating in 2015.
So they're prepared to give Rahul a little bit more time.
Another opportunity probably.
But if you listen carefully, the clock will soon be ticking. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming to studio. My thanks also to my other two guests for joining me.